back, everybody. Another edition here of the Auburn Undercover podcast on the Auburn Undercover YouTube channel. Nathan King here. Joined us Jason Caldwell, day 12 of Auburn preseason camp as we just keep on rolling. A hot one today. I think last time we were out here talked about it's been a lot of overcast. It's the summer where it won't stop raining. Today was hot and muggy and an eventful day. A lot that we learned and we're able to glean from about 45 minutes on the practice field. Got to talk to some players. Got to talk to Hugh Freeze. We can touch on a lot of different things to start with. I think the first thing we'll talk about is a story that you had today. And really, I think it goes to show, Jason, that when there's not real football being played, people will continue to make a storyline out of pretty much anything. This week it was play calling. I was over talking to Derek Nix on Monday, Auburn's offensive coordinator, when he was asked about, hey, is it still the same structure that you had last year for play calling? And he said yes, and said, here's what we did, here's what we did last year, we're still doing that. And that has turned into, mainly on social media, people talking about their opinions of it, Auburn fans being mad that that's even a thing in the first
different
place.
guys, all these things. Yeah.
And you asked Hugh Freeze about it today. I mean, ultimately, number one, it's the exact same that it was last year. And number two, as he said, look, it's a collaborative effort, just like it is with pretty much any staff in the country.
Pretty much everywhere when you look at it. As a head coach in this world, you got a lot of stuff going on. So he is involved. Hugh Freeze is in the offense and the play calling, all that stuff. Yes, but during the week, Derek Nix is a guy that they're like, hey, let's break this down, and your money downs are first down and third down. So you're like, somebody's like, well, who calls second downs? Well, Hugh Freeze, who call it. Derek Nix may have a play he likes or whatever. That's just the way it works, and it's the way it works for most everybody. But yeah, like hey, here's our first down call sheet. Derek Nix has it, and he goes, hey, here's what we like. Hugh, you like that? Yeah, I like that one. Or no, I don't like it. Let's do something else. Ultimately, Hugh Freeze has the decision to go, hey, look, I don't like that. Here's what I want to do. So it's his call. So yes, collaboration, if you want to call it that, it is what most everybody else does in some form or fashion around the country. And so, yeah, not a big deal, not a huge part of this thing. We can move on. Here's the thing. If it bothers you, sorry, it's just the way it is. They win 10 games, it won't matter. They win 2 games, it won't matter. Yep. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Jason and I were talking about today, your offensive success is going to come back on an offensive head coach. If they have success, it comes back on Hugh Freeze. If they have failures, it comes back on Hugh Freeze. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. And just the other thing I would say is that, again, I don't think it was made clear enough this week that this is the exact same as it was last year. Yes. It was kind of confusing why it was even a storyline in the first place. Maybe some people just weren't paying attention this time last year. But anyway, talk about what we saw on the practice field. An injury-heavy day at wide receiver, and now going into Friday's scrimmage, it sounds like they're going to be shorthanded a little bit in the passing game. The only one that sounds like it could linger into next week is Eric Singleton. Had a knee bruise or a calf bruise. Thigh bruise. Yeah. We'll get to one of them.
Took a knee to the thigh. Kind of two guys ran into each other. Yep. So just kind of a deep bruise for him. He was walking around though. It's not like he's on crutches, anything like that. Should be fine. Cam has the yellow jersey on, but goes up making plays. He's out there. Malcolm was going through things. So the guys were out there. If you're playing a game Friday,
I'm not sure any of them would miss a game.
Yeah, Eric might be the toughest one, but he should be fine to get ready for next week.
Yeah, other than that, I mean, it actually is a little bit cleaner elsewhere. DeMarcus Riddick, which DJ Durkin had told us, he was out of his non-contact jersey. Of course, Jeremiah Cobb has been out of his for a while, so a little bit healthier on the other fronts. But yeah, at wide receiver, it'll be interesting, maybe a little bit different for their lineups tomorrow at the scrimmage. Speaking of that, Hugh Freeze said there will be some live periods tomorrow, and they'll obviously be back at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Wanting more execution from the offense. I think that they're at the point now where, and this is Hugh Freeze verbiage that we've sort of come to understand the last couple of years, they're at the point now where they understand what needs to be done. It's no longer teaching things. Correct. It's now, and as we saw Hugh Freeze get frustrated to throw down his visor at Jackson Arnold, it's like when we have something set up and we think it can be successful and you guys don't go execute, that is the next step they're trying to take, is get that to be more consistent.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. He said it a little bit. We've talked about it some too, is that it's hard when you get to this point in camp because you're doing so many things. Yeah. And you got all these things you're doing. When you start game planning, you're narrowing down the focus. So then you go like, hey, when we get this look, this is what we're doing. Right now it's, hey, it doesn't matter what look we're getting, here's what we're doing. And so sometimes I think he's probably caught off guard a little bit that it was wide open today.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, maybe we didn't coach him up good enough in this area doing these things. Hey, you'd much rather have that happen now than it happen in 2 weeks. And so it's another learning opportunity for him. Otherwise, I thought it was a pretty good day for him throwing the football. Had, again, a couple of missed guys here or there, not just him. All the guys missed somebody here or there. But it was in red zone period that we saw it, and it is a war in that red zone period. Yeah. The DBs and wide receivers going after it. And again, and you're also doing it with some guys banged up and not quite healthy right now. So it took some of those guys out of play. But Otherwise, I thought it was a pretty clean day. The guy that jumped out is the guy we talked to, Preston Howard. Again, makes plays. He is a guy that can get off the ball. He's going to be an interesting guy in the red zone, I believe, because he's long, but he's slithery enough to get back there and make some plays. I thought he had a good day.
Yeah, I thought from the beginning of camp it was pretty clear he had really good hands. He was the first guy when we talked to Ben Agamauer earlier this week saying, look, he's the one who's going up and making a lot of plays. But we did see Brandon Frazier as well today make a really, really good catch, and so good day for the tight ends. Jason, going into the second scrimmage now, we've talked about them trying to get to a point where that execution is at a higher level. We had heard from the last scrimmage that, hey, the offensive line held up really well in pass protection. But I go back to, I think we mentioned on this show before this week, I go back to what Jake Thornton said this week. He wants to see that group take over.
Yeah.
He said they're so talented. They do have those 6 NFL guys. As you pointed out today, the scouts were I saw them talking to Jake Thornton afterwards.
After practice.
Yes.
NFL scouts were there in numbers today looking at Auburn's offensive line guys. Obviously, then after practice, they're hanging around talking to Jake Thornton. So, that's a big deal and a big part of things. And so, you're right. I think some of that, too, when you start to pare things down, narrow things down, what's that look like? And so I think that's helpful everywhere. We're talking about it, mainly talking about quarterback, wide receiver, but it also works on the offensive line when you're going, look here, you're not trying to play 12 different guys. And so you're focusing on those 6 guys. Here they are. I think that's something. I won't be surprised to see them, especially because of some of these injuries, narrow the focus down a little bit for scrimmage number 2 to begin pointing towards Baylor. Yeah,
and especially, today was kind of a setup sort of day. They didn't have pads on today, sort of maybe a fundamental heavy walkthrough heavy day getting to tomorrow's scrimmage. So after that, Jason, technically camp is over.
It is.
You are still in a preseason portion, but from what it sounds like, so they'll scrimmage on Friday, and then Monday they will begin a mock sort of game week where their schedule's different because they play on Friday.
Yeah, and classes start Monday here, so it kind of changes everything. So for us, when we're thinking about it, camp normally ends when you start school, and so camp will kind of close its doors. You'll start to so next week is a mock week where you start to do everything like you're going to do at game day, which means for us it'll be Monday press conference with Hugh Freeze. Even though it's a Friday game, we're going to have him have some things, and then Friday they will go to the stadium and they will have a walkthrough, but it'll be pregame meal at 3:30 or whatever time they eat. Put on the headsets, put on your jerseys, make sure you have everything that you want to be in place for the first game. Yeah,
it's a full dress rehearsal, including they'll kick off at 7. They will make it exactly like the game is going to be. Just a couple weeks from now in Waco. So it's getting there quickly. Hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Be sure to head over to auburnundercover.com. All kinds of stuff that we have for you guys. Of course, we're still offering that 50% off promotional. That runs all the way up until the season opener. And so, again, it's been a really fun camp. I've really enjoyed the stuff we've been able to do and be able to bring you guys from inside the facility. And so I think this will be our last dispatch from here during camp. But like Jason said, it changes for us, and they'll continue to practice.
It just means it won't be camp. It'll just be get towards
Yes, but they'll obviously still be practicing and making preparations for week 1 at Baylor. So for Jason Caldwell, I'm Nathan King. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today on the Auburn Undercover YouTube channel. Talk to y'all soon.